while ISIS rampaged through Iraq and Syria faster than anyone may have anticipated. Just how did the U.S. intelligence community and the U.S. government flub their assessment of this threat so badly? And joining me now is former NATO Supreme Allied Commander, author of The Accidental Admiral, and Dean of the Fletcher School at Tufts University, Admiral James George Stavridis. Admiral, thanks for being here. As always, you just heard our Jim Sciutto report that senior intelligence officials produced multiple reports on ISIS running roughshod in Iraq, including the plans that ISIS had to target Mosul and Baghdad. But President Obama said last night that he was surprised by what ISIS was able to do and suggested that the intelligence wasn't there. This is not new, obviously, the idea of a president blaming things on the intelligence community, which for the most part can't do anything to contradict the president. But how do you interpret this? Is he just trying to cover himself?
You know, I think the first thing is to recognize that intelligence is imperfect, Jake, but so is analysis. So we get a lot of raw reporting. The question is, how capable are you of analyzing it and predicting outcomes? I think that's the failure that we've seen here. And then secondly, Jake, it was the lack of having boots on the ground when the U.S. troops were pulled out. You know, it's not always about boots on the ground. It's about eyes on the ground as well. So lacking those two things, I think we've seen an intelligence failure here, and one the president has admitted.
So what about these anonymous intelligence officials telling Jim Sciutto and other media outlets that this isn't true, that either he wasn't reading the intelligence or he's not being honest right now, the president?
Well, I haven't seen the intelligence reports personally, so I'd be loath to comment on them. But let's face it, intelligence is never going to be precise. And even a decision maker like the president, who is faced with such a huge volume of intelligence, can misanalyze it, misconstrue it, and not make the right decisions himself.
So if one takes the president's words at face value, and what the Director of National Intelligence, General James Clapper, told David Ignatius, that there was a failure, they didn't anticipate how strong ISIS would be and how weak the Iraqi army would be, one might ask the argument, why does Clapper still have a job?
Well, any intelligence official is always skating on thin ice because of the nature of those jobs. Obviously a decision for the president. But I think General Clapper, who's a previous head of the National Security Agency, as well as being the current Director of National Intelligence, brings an enormous amount of experience to the job. My guess is the president does not want to simply let that go at a critical moment like this.
A Syrian ISIS fighter told CNN that the coalition airstrikes so far in Syria are not working. They will not stop ISIS from advancing. Do you think that he's grandstanding? What are you hearing from the military community about how effective the strikes in Syria have been so far?
I think they're starting to bite. Any kind of campaign like this, where you're really going after the resources, the logistics, really knocking down that supporting infrastructure, takes time to build momentum. I'll also make the observation, I saw the same report, and the individual making the report was wearing a mask that covered everything except a tiny slit over his eyes. If ISIS is so bold and so fearless and so invulnerable, I'm not quite sure why everybody I see talking for them is wearing a mask. So I'd say let's give it some time, and as we bring the Peshmerga from the north, revitalize the Iraqi security forces from the south, bomb in the west, and put ISIS under a three-front war, I think we'll discover they're not 10 feet tall.
Admiral Stavridis, thank you so much, as always, for joining us.
Thanks, Jake.